taught from a training manual or handed out at a typical training, yet they are essential skills for anyone who would be a candidate or political leader. That is why I will implement a third and final tier of training that I call political wisdom. All over the nation, young people are being elected to office who didn't win because they used the standard textbook approach to campaign politics, but rather they defeated supposedly unbeatable Republicans by using new, innovative strategies. They brought non-voters to the polls, won over new voters, full of idealism to replace the cynics who thought it couldn't be done. The skills these brave women and men use can't be taught in the usual way, but I will work with every state president and young Democrat leader in this country to encourage those skills and instill those values in each of our programs. While this three-tier approach to programs will make YDA more relevant to its members who have to travel often at great personal expense, we also want to take YDA programs on the road so that they can be relevant to the great majority of young Dems who will never go to a YDA meeting or be a delegate at a convention. We will bring YDA programs home to the states. It is imperative that we remember that the purpose of YDA is to support our state and local chapters. These chapters should be able to take advantage of the resources of YDA, not the other way around. Our program should not just serve the young Democrats of America. We should serve the young Democrats of Georgia, of Illinois, of Virginia, of Arizona, and each and every state who wake up each day dedicated to defeating the Republicans and winning elections for Democrats. This is what I believe. This is why I want to be your VP programs. My name is Chris Anderson. Thank you for your time.
The next candidate. Can I have order, please? Can I have order, please? The next candidate for Vice President for Programs is Dwayne Bensing.
Good evening, young Democrats! Thank you. Thank you. We're having a great time in California or what? That's right. Everybody give a hand to California for hosting us here. They're working their butts off. This is great. My name is Dwayne J. Bensing, and I'm your candidate for Vice President of Programs. You guys, if I've traveled in my car from Fayetteville, Arkansas to Washington, D.C., right over here on the opposite side of the opposite coast over here in San Francisco, I've just been so proud of all the local activists that I've been able to meet with. You guys should be proud of yourselves and the hard work that you're doing back home. What's more is it's time for young Democrats of America to support the hard work that you're doing in your local communities. Throughout my campaign, I've offered a candidacy of genuine programming experience, young activist energy, and the ability to engage all members of our very diverse community. Young Democrats, today we are faced with some choices. Basically, we can sit or we can stand. While you all are working hard back home, young Democrats of America can avoid issues altogether. We can just simply talk about issues and talk about being activists 4 times a year. Or YDA can actually support you and be the ones that are making the issues. We can go to towns and never make an impact outside of these hotel walls, or we can hit the streets and make a difference for the people in the communities that we visit. We can ignore the young people out there are suffering in our country and just send bickering emails at each other. Or we can actually roll up our sleeves and get to work at every House election that we have in Ohio, every budget cut in education, and every recess appointment that puts our futures in jeopardy. I contend now is not the time for mediocrity, but the time for us to be on the cutting edge. It's the time for us to be front runners on policy, on message, and on activism. We must be the face of young people, because if we aren't, who is going to be? You all, it's not about us in this convention hall versus them on the streets. It's about us fighting for them, all of them, and we must be that strong voice. Ladies and gentlemen, in Arkansas, we believe in a place called hope. We believe because of people like my grandmother, who I live with, who suffers of multiple sclerosis and lives day by day on her Social Security and Medicare. We believe because of people like my beautiful sister who's with me today, who's going to college because of federal and state funding. We believe in a place called hope because of people like my father, who was in the military and deserves the respect, the dignity, and care because of his brave service to our great nation. We believe because of people like my mother, who works tirelessly for 50 hours a week at a fast food joint just so she can put food on the table and have health care for me and my sister. Young Democrats, we believe because of people like me who deserve the equal rights guaranteed by the Constitution, that all people are created equal, no matter what their race, what their age, their gender, their creed, and yes, their sexual orientation. Ladies and gentlemen, I offer you my candidacy for Vice President of Programs of Young Democrats of America. I offer you my experience, I offer you my energy, and I offer you my passion and dedication to the causes that we are fighting for so dearly. It is my pleasure to serve you, and I ask for your endorsement in this campaign. The future is ours. God bless, and have a good night.
The next office for which we will hear candidates speak is Democratic National Committee woman. There are two candidates certified for this to run for this office: Tashea Brogins and Lauren Brookgood. For the purpose of nominating Tashea Brogins, I will call to the front Darren Parks.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman and fellow delegates, it is my great pleasure to stand before you and nominate Tashea Brogins to represent us as our next Democratic National Committee woman. She hails from the great state of Maryland, one of the bluest states in our great nation. Tashea is a leader and an inspiration in our great state. She wears far too many hats for me to list here today, and in addition to being a minister. She is a worker and a fighter. She started the Minority Caucus in Maryland, and unfortunately for me, I have the displeasure of trying to fill her huge shoes. But she has always been there to support all of our young Democratic activists, whether it's in 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 hour conference calls, or offering suggestions on how to do things better. That is why I am proud to stand here and nominate her for Democratic National Committee woman. There is no one that I would rather have sitting at the table working hard and fighting for me, and I hope you will feel the same way. Thank you.
Thank you. And for the purpose of nominating Lauren Good, I will call to the front Ed Espinoza.
Thank you. Your mom goes to college. I'm Ed Espinoza. I'm a young Democrat, and I represent California on the Democratic National Committee. I'm here to talk about one of my favorite people, Lauren B. Good. When I met Lauren, she was an intern in the YDA office working on campaign plans and communication strategies. 4 years later, she's still working hard for young Democrats like you and me. Next page. Now, the good thing about young Democrats is that we get to choose new leadership every 2 years. New leadership for our party, new enthusiastic people, a fresh approach for YDA. Friends, Lauren is that fresh approach for YDA. She understands that Young Democrats aren't just the future of the Democratic Party, we are the Democratic Party. And she will fight for us and represent us at the DNC. She is smart, she is capable, she is from Ohio, and I know that the best kind of political speech is a short one, so I'll keep this short. So I nominate my good friend Lauren B. Good.
Thank you. The nomination of Tashea Brogins was seconded by Edgar Santana, and the nomination of Lauren B. Good was nominated or seconded by Billy Joyner. We'll now call to the podium candidate for Democratic National Committee woman Tashea Brogins.
Hello, YDA delegates. I want to first say thank you to Darren Parks from Maryland. Thank you to New York. Thanks to Maryland, and especially I want to thank God for giving me this opportunity to speak with you all here today. It's surreal to be standing here before you when just 2 years ago, I had no interest at all in politics. But I began to look around at the world we are in today and felt the need to do something. I was confused on how, year after year, elected officials stood before the people and promised them a brighter day was ahead and they would take care of it. The rhetoric was great, but I often saw no action. So many people just vote and they feel it's all they need to do, but I realized that a vote goes but so far without action to follow it up. So I voted the first chance I got for the people I thought would make a difference. But I realized that I needed to follow it up with action. I voted for Bill Clinton, and if I could vote for him again, I would do it at a heartbeat. Because Bill Clinton definitely was a man of action. So 2 years ago, I had all of this going on in my mind while I was at a real estate convention. Next door at this real estate convention, YDA was having a Founders Day, and I saw Al Sharpton walk by me. I saw Carol Mosley Braun walk by me, and I said, where am I at? I noticed Simone Ward, the former executive director in the lobby. She gave me some information, and here I am today, 2 years, and I am now the newly elected chair of the YDA Minority Caucus. And I stand here before you today, a candidate for DNC committee woman, and to tell you that I am a woman of action. As DNC National Committee woman, I want you to know I will be a woman of action. Our voices will be heard in the DNC on issues that are important to young people. I learned a long time ago that nothing is given to you. You must work for it and fight for it if necessary. So one way or another, young people will have a seat at the table. I want the DNC to know that we are concerned about so many young people not having health care, domestic violence, that we are really concerned about the Iraq war. I could go on, but together we can work with the other DNC representatives, state parties, and our elected officials to make it happen. Let's bring issues forward, increase our numbers and diversity, and make this Democratic Party realize we are serious. So in closing, I hope to have your support, but more importantly, win or lose, and with all of our candidates today, we need to put our egos aside, stop tripping, rally around YDA to make a better future for young Americans. So repeat after me, enough of the rhetoric. It's time for some action. God bless you.
The next candidate for Democratic National Committee woman is Lauren Good.
I love you. I only got 3 minutes, people, so let's make this quick. My mom's been telling me that my whole life. My name's Lauren Be Good. I'm from a small tobacco farming town in southern Ohio. And I want to be your next representative to the Democratic National Committee. I'm here because I want to get more young people in the Democratic Party, plain and simple. Ed told you a little bit about me being YDA intern. We'll tell YDA intern stories later. But it really gave me an appreciation of how hard it is to run a national organization. I want to represent you on the DNC because you guys deserve to have a representative that's going to be out there selling the programs that you're doing, involved in your state, getting you the funding that you need from the DNC donors and the donors. We have to have a plan, and we have to show them how we're going to have results. And we have that plan, we have that results, and I'm going to let them see that. The second thing I'm going to do is talk. I'm former communications director for YDA, and I'm going to do a little bit of switching on that role and become a surrogate speaker, really pushing the things that YDA is doing, that we're doing in our local chapters, making the sale, making the pitch. The other big reason that I'm here is something that we all care about. We care about Jeff Wershaw, specialist from Florida, who was killed, member of the National Guard, died before the 2003 Buffalo Convention. We care about Joel Meese, member of the National Guard from Kansas. We care about Vince Enriquez, who enlisted for some reason. We care about my brother, Second Lieutenant Paul Worley, who's going to Iraq in a month. We have to fight for them because they're fighting for us. And I really believe that we have to just organize. It's our passion. It's the way we're going to do it. So I want to thank you guys. I hope to have your support. And I hope you'll vote for me for Democratic National Committee woman. Thank you very much.
And the remaining offices, or there are 3 remaining offices we'll hear speakers from, so if you're a nominator, make your way down to the front. Democratic National Committee man will be next, then followed by Executive Vice President, and finally, President. So there are two certified candidates for Democratic National Committee man, Cruz Giovanni Garibai and Joseph James McNerney. Giovanni Garibai will be nominated by Antone White.
Good evening. I'm Antone White from the great state of Ohio, here with my good friend Michael from Texas. And can you hear me now? Sorry. We're here today to nominate Giovanni Garibai from Texas for DNC, for a representative to the DNC. As one of the most important offices in YDA, the representative to the DNC, we need a man who is a no-nonsense proven leader. And Giovanni has led at all levels, local, state, and national. At the local level, Giovanni was the youngest elected student body president at the University of Houston, elected at the age of 20. And during his tenure, he founded an organization called National Students Association, which was an organization that fought for more accessible and affordable education throughout the country. Also in Houston, he was the youngest member of Mayor Lee Brown's Hispanic Advisory Committee, and he currently serves as the chairman of the Harris County Tejano Democrats.
At the state level, Giovanni has worked hard to help rebuild the Texas Young Democrats, and I'm very impressed to see that there's so many Texas Young Dems here this week. They are the third largest delegation here this week alone, and this organization has come a long way. It's through the work of guys like Giovanni, who's worked hard to help bring that organization back. At the national level, he is no stranger to the DNC. In 2004, he was one of only a handful of young delegates who was chosen to serve on the Democratic National Committee's platform committee in Boston at the National Convention. And since 2001, he's spent his time, his own time and his own money to travel to DNC meetings.
Close up.
Sorry. We want to just say that we really support him, and we hope you will. Giovanni Garibaldi from Texas for DNC rep to, or for male rep to
Thank
DNC.
you. And for the purpose of nominating Joe McNerney, Robert Hooks.
Somebody told me there were some Democrats in San Francisco tonight. Somebody told me there was some unity in San Francisco tonight. Mr. Chairman, when I look out over this convention, I get the opportunity to meet these delegates and serve with them in committees. I know that the stars are shining bright over San Francisco tonight. And no doubt that two of the brightest shining stars in the Young Democrat sky are the two extraordinary men who have stood up for this position as Democratic National Committee man, and I have the honor and the privilege of nominating one of those, my very good friend, Mr. Joe McNerney from New York. Joe wants to be our voice in the Democratic National Committee. And how did he prove that he wanted to do that? He came to our states and listened to what we had to say. 23 states, the District of Columbia. He wanted to be our voice, but he wanted to bring our voice to the DNC. When he came to Mississippi, he didn't come because he thought Mississippi would have the biggest delegation here. He didn't come because he thought Mississippi would be able to deliver him this victory. He came because he thought every state needed to be included. Every vote needed to count. And the Young Democrats need to be about inclusion. Mr. Chairman, they say I only have 3 minutes, so I'm going to end now by simply saying that when we have someone in the DNC who can represent inclusion and diversity, who can bring the voice not just of Young Democrats, but of Young Democrats in every state, Young Democrats who are involved in the labor movement. Joe McNerney is our man. Mr. Chairman, it is my pleasure to place into nomination the name of Joe McNerney for Democratic National Committee man. Thank you very much.
The nomination of Giovanni Garibaldi was seconded by Mike Apodaca, and the nomination of Joe McNerney was seconded by Nikki Mabry. I will first call to the podium the first candidate for Democratic National Committee man, Giovanni Garibaldi.
Thank you, thank you. Siéntate, por favor. First, thank you, Anton, for that gracious nomination. It was 5 years ago. You and I met when I visited Columbus, Ohio, traveling in a 2-week-long 4-state bus tour with other Texas leaders called the Texas True Squad, telling the truth about the horrific environmental and educational policies of then Texas Governor George W. Bush. Bush may have won that time, but it was a great fight we put on. I'll never forget the experience, an experience which has led me to be here today. My name is Cruz Giovanni Garibaldi, and I'm running to replace one of the best Democrats I know, Clinton Bench, from the great state of Massachusetts, as your National Committee man. It has been 20 years since a Texan has been elected in YDA, and I am honored to be before you to ask for your support. Young Democrats need a strong and diverse voice on the Democratic National Committee, and I feel I am that voice. I am the most qualified and experienced candidate in this race. Since my first YDA meeting 4 years ago back in Phoenix, Arizona, you know me to be a vocal activist in YDA, and as your Democratic National Committee man, I will take that activism to the DNC. I bring a number of important traits. First among them, I'm not afraid of confrontation and controversy when it is needed. 3 years ago, I sponsored the first YDA resolution against the war in Iraq. Although it took some within the party a while to see the light, I was not afraid to stand up and say, this war is not right. And my friends from Minnesota were the ones fighting with me on that. Another valuable trait of mine is persistence. After the last YDA National Convention, Texas went home yet again with no elected officer. It would have been easy to give up on YDA, but I didn't. I offered to host the next national meeting in San Antonio, Texas. The meeting was a success with speakers such as members of the Killer D's and the Texas Senate 11. But also the San Antonio meeting saw a record participation from red states in a post-convention meeting. Texas Young Democrats have worked hard to help YDA, and I am proud to say we have not missed one meeting during this entire 2-year term, and have gone from one of the smallest delegations 2 years ago in Buffalo to, as Anton said, the third largest delegation today. Thank you, Texas. Nor am I a stranger to hard work. During last year's election cycle, I did not stay home and watch the battle from the sidelines. I took a leave of absence from my job and spent several months traveling the battleground state of Iowa, encouraging young voters to come out and vote. Finally, I have both the state and national experience and relationships to be a successful advocate for YDA. My first DNC meeting was in 2001, where I served as a volunteer for the late Atlanta Mayor, Maynard Jackson's campaign team. So I know how the system works. And in 2004, as Anton said, I served in the platform committee, one of only a few young Democrats at the decision-making table, fighting for a platform that reflects the young Democrats and our values. But not only do I have experience, I have a plan. First, I want to serve as an active promoter of YDA to the DNC membership. We have to let every member of the DNC know where YDA is going if we are wanting to seek a greater seat at the decision-making table. Secondly, I will work to increase YDA's campaign presence and build upon this past year's historic Young Voter Alliance. There's a reason young voters turned out, so why jump ship now? Thirdly, I will be a vocal advocate for increasing youth participation among the DNC membership. The membership of the DNC needs to reflect the Democratic vote, and that is us. It's time for us to have more seats at the decision-making table, not just be treated like a youth caucus anymore. Lastly, I will be a vocal representative for red states. I have to say, states like New York, they need to share the wealth. Only by growing and providing opportunities in all 50 states will YDA truly succeed. My fellow young Democrats, you've got 2 Democrats in this race, but you've got to make a decision. And I ask you to pick the most experienced, the most qualified person. My name is Cruz Giovanni Garibay, and I'm running to be your national committeeman. Thank you, and God bless.
And the next candidate for Democratic National Committee man is Joe McNerney.
Good evening, young Democrats. It's awesome to be here. Are the unions in the house? Yeah. First, I'd like to thank our California chapter and the officers of the Young Democrats of America for the great YDA by the Bay 2005 convention. A few days ago, as I campaigned across America on my national whistle stop tour, I was in the living room of John Law in Laramie, Wyoming, with his fiancée Katie and his friend Aaron. These three folks and a couple of their friends are helping revitalize our party. They're starting the chapter anew in Wyoming. They are resurrecting a dormant chapter with new energy and purpose, with a renewed commitment to our shared progressive values. Though living in a Republican-dominated state, these dedicated young activists are working hard to ensure that the democratic ideals that we all hold true are in every state, in every county, in every city, in every town across this country. I was born Eldonio Ernesto Enriquez in a small town of Apostapique, El Salvador. At 9 months, I was adopted by a loving Irish-American and Union family in the great city of Shakopee in the great state of Minnesota. And during my high school years at a military JROTC high school, I came to two fundamental realizations. When I read about the Minneapolis Teamster strikes of the 1930s, I said, hey, Joe, there's a decision that has to be made. There's labor and there's management. And one of those choices is the right one. I chose labor. During these formative years, I also came to be proud of being a gay man. In college, I studied labor relations and was an LGBT campus organizer, and then I organized for the American Federation of Teachers. And I tell you guys, none of these are recruiting points for the Republican Party. I'm a natural-born Democrat. Now, I live in the Dominican neighborhood of Washington Heights in New York City. Yeah, the Heights is in the house! Living here, I see the extreme poverty and the extreme wealth of our country's people. Riding the subways to City Hall every morning, I hear the pleas for food and for money by the jobless and by the homeless. In my work as legislative director for City Council member Robert Jackson, I organize coalitions to utilize the resources that only government can provide to improve people's lives. With the $50.2 billion city budget, block by block, neighborhood by neighborhood, we have the ability to make change, and we do. Grassroots organizing is the guiding foundation for my campaign to be DNC committee man. During the past 4 months, I visited 28 states and the District of Columbia, which encompasses all of our 8 regions. My goal to organize the unorganized, Iowa, Wisconsin, Wyoming, South Dakota. It's absolutely unacceptable that the Young Democrats of America does not have a chapter in every state in this country. That's not right. I and my fellow Team Unity candidates have worked this year to change that, assisting several new states to organize, including emerging energetic chapters in Oregon and in Nevada. We know that to truly empower our peers and reach out to those uninvolved, we have to move beyond the presidential cycle of dropping in every 4 years. That doesn't work, that doesn't engage, and that doesn't do a thing for our party. The 3 core values of my campaign: inclusion, progress, and empowerment. First, inclusion. Together we can build a seat at the table. To achieve lasting inclusion, I will create a sustained DNC Youth Caucus. Currently, they meet typically every 4 years. I'm going to make it happen at every DNC meeting. Only through consistent exchange of energy and ideas between both groups can we truly enjoy a working relationship with the DNC and the YDA. Secondly, to progress as young leaders of the Democratic Party, we must create and maintain a national infrastructure of every state. I will work with my fellow officers to dedicate more YDA budget resources to to direct organizing activity. Every state, every chapter, every city, every town, every county. We got to do it, guys. We got to organize the unorganized. We can't sit back and claim that the status quo is progress, because it ain't. Third, the value of empowerment is key to my vision for DNC National Committee Man. When you build a union, when you help workers empower themselves, you have to create something. You have to create something that lasts and something that gives them the tools so they can stand up and say, hey, I need to be counted, I'm going to organize, I'm going to collectively bargain, and I have rights at the workplace. You must build leadership and agency within the members. To reach this goal of empowerment of young Democrats, what I'm going to do is create a YDA DNC apprenticeship program to directly connect the DNC members in all of our states with the young Democrats of all of our states. No longer will you have to be a political insider to have access to the senior party. And we're going to do this together. We are young, we are smart, we are engaged, and we are Democrats. We can change the direction of this country. Seeing this nation firsthand and meeting all of you, all these 28 states, et cetera, has made me positive that we can do this. Folks, together we can make this vision a reality. Join me today, and let's get started.
you. 2 more offices to go. All right. The next office for which we will hear candidates speak is Executive Vice President. There are 2 candidates certified to run for the office: Stephanie Strazazar and Alexis Tamarone. For the purposes of order, please. For the purpose of nominating Stephanie Strazazar, we'll call to the front Ashanti Faishel Golar.
Good evening, my fellow Young Democrats. My name is Ashanti Faishel Golar. I'm the proud president of the awesome Young Democrats of Nevada and the national vice president of the awesome College Democrats of America. And I am very proud to nominate Stephanie Strazazar for your next executive vice president of the Young Democrats of America. Being Democrats, we know that diversity is very important in our party, and Stephanie represents that. Coming from a multiracial union household, like many of us, she learned at an early age that not everyone had equal opportunity. Through scholarships and student loans, she put herself through the University of Pittsburgh and received a degree in environmental studies with a concentration in Latin American studies. It was also here that she served as president of the University College Democrats. It was through hard work, traditional organization, and focused programming that she was able to reach out to so many young campus activists. It was also here that she was able to build up her own organizing and coalition building experiences, which allowed her to serve as a county Democratic committee woman for a precinct in Pittsburgh with one of the highest concentrations of young people. But Stephanie's diversity just does not exist in the political realm. She's also spent time in the field collecting biodiversity data in Panama. She's worked with AmeriCorps on a tribal wildland fire pilot program in Montana, and she's even worked as an emergency firefighter. This shows that not only does she care about the Democratic community, she cares about all communities. In her YDA career, Stephanie has served as treasurer of the Women's Caucus, co-vice chair of the 2003 YDA Platform Committee, and interim deputy director of the Mid-Atlantic region. She currently serves as the chair of the YDA Women's Caucus, where we have seen her do a phenomenal job in expanding caucus communication, diversifying its membership and scope of interests. In addition to that, she also volunteers her time for many local and state campaigns in Pittsburgh and Pennsylvania, and also serves as a member of the advisory committee for the DNC Women's Vote Center. Ladies and gentlemen, she has the skills, she has the knowledge, and I hope you'll give her your vote. With this, awesome. With this, I nominate Stephanie Strazazar. Thank you.
Before the next nomination speech, I mean, I know it's getting late, folks, but please try and keep your conversations down to a bare minimum. If you want to talk with somebody, take them outside. We just need to afford everyone the privilege of some quiet when they're making their speeches. For the purpose of nominating, thank you, Massachusetts. For the purpose of nominating Alexis Tamarone, call to the front, Justin Southern.
Okay. There's one reason why I've really, really cherished this opportunity and honor to nominate Alexis Tamarone. And it's not that we both grew up in small towns, small coal mining towns. It's not that we were Catholic families or grandchildren of immigrants. But Alexis Tamarone has shepherded the Young Democrats through a great change 2 years ago. It is not the same Young Democrats that it was, and Alexis Tamarone was an anchor of that change. And I am totally honored to be nominating her for bringing YDA into the campaign fold. I needed to say a couple things about Alexis. One of them is that she started off with local elections in Arizona, Wisconsin and Virginia. Started out with Gore Lieberman. And I got to say about the experience, it's unbelievable. In 2003, Alexis was one of the youngest political directors of any state Democratic Party. Served 2 terms as president, 2 terms of president of the Arizona Young Democrats. She was the state director of Dean for America in '04, and a state director of America Votes. And about the scholarship, it's unbelievable. She has participated in public policy and leadership conferences at the Kennedy School of Government, Harvard. Same thing at Georgetown, and attended the Woodrow Wilson School at Princeton. A public policy international fellow. But I just got to say, I'm going to keep it quick because I know it's getting late. But Alexis is one of the most experienced people that we have an opportunity to elect as Young Democrats. And not only representing the Latino section of the Young Democrats of America, but just to represent us. We are honored to have her as our National Committee woman right now, and hopefully we will elect her tomorrow as our Executive Vice President. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The nomination, order please. The nomination of Stephanie Strazazar was seconded by Tony Campisi, and the nomination of Alexis Tamarone was seconded by Jody Weissler. I will now call to the podium candidate for Executive Vice President, Stephanie Strazazar.
Thanks very much. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you very much. I wanted to take this moment to thank YDA by the Bay, to thank the YDA staff, the current YDA officers, to thank our union brothers and sisters that have worked so hard. Thank you so much. I want to give a shout out to my Pennsylvania Young Democrats for flying all the way across the country. So, thank you so much. Well, I come to you with a number of experiences. Although I may not have large titles and political positions, I come with a diverse experience, and I'm really looking forward to this opportunity to serve you as Executive Vice President. I'm looking to bring 3 main ideas. I'm looking to take a bold vision, have fresh voices involved, and bring a new strength. 2004 proved that young people can rejuvenate the Democratic Party. We need to build every chapter and every constituency group, and we need to provide the resources that they need to recruit the future leaders of our party and to be successful on a local level. We need to create opportunities for development, not just take the ones that are handed to us. I believe we need fresh voices. Our energy and our diversity are our greatest strengths as young people. Yep. Oftentimes we get taken for granted because of these things, but they're strengths. We need to emphasize them. We need an inclusive organization with effective communication, both internal and external. We must develop and cultivate our membership, not just outreach to them. We must train YDA activists to become leaders in their communities and respected voices for young Democrats. And I also believe we need a new strength. While we build our strength through YDA and the Democratic Party, we must also continue to form new alliances with other youth, progressive, professional, and community organizations. For YDA to build its capacity, these partnerships must be accessible at the national and local scale. By working together and helping each other grow, we can gain the strength we need to win back America. It wasn't easy being a female firefighter. It's hard work. It's very hard work. It wasn't easy being in AmeriCorps. Doing service for other people was fun, was rewarding, but it was hard. I'm really looking to take those opportunities and those experiences and reaching out to new people that we haven't reached out to. I think we take for granted way too many people, and I'd love to be in this position and to really bridge that gap. I know I wouldn't have been engaged in politics if someone wouldn't have brought me in and kept me excited and engaged. And I want to do this to other people, and I really want to use this role to take this to the next level. I believe in us as young people. I don't doubt our potential. I want to use this position to make this organization more active. I want to bring more people in and not shut them out. That's what the Democratic Party is about. I also want to emphasize we need new opportunities. No podemos aceptar oportunidades que son pasadas a nosotros. We need new opportunities. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you'll consider me, and I love to talk with you more. I've had a great opportunity to travel around this country. I've already traveled to over 15 states. I've been to Red River, New Mexico. I've been to Colorado. I've been to Texas. I have been to Mississippi, and I've been to Virginia, and they were all great trips. I'm looking forward to working with you, and I'm looking forward to talking more with you tomorrow. Thank you so much for your time.
And the next candidate for Executive Vice President is Alexis Tamarone.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Y'all warm my heart. I just want to say that. Tonight I'll try to be brief because I know it's late, but as I've told my good friend Tara Martin from the great state of New York, girl, you know I gotta keep it real, so I'm gonna keep it real right now. Many times in our history, young people have carried the banner for progress, and today is no different. This is serious business, and millions of dollars are at stake. Cheap rhetoric and empty promises to secure your vote does us no good. We're at a major crossroads as a party, as an organization. There are too many issues at stake if we're not successful. We have to be bold, we have to be creative, and we have to be innovative. And over the last 2 years, we have been bold, we have been creative, and we have been innovative. And we worked hard to revolutionize the way we run this organization. In 2003, we recruited and ran with the most diverse group of nationally elected and appointed officers in YDA history. We've raised over $1.3 million and became a relevant, influential, and successful 527 organization, and still maintained our seats on the DNC. We challenged the traditional YDA focus to include non-traditional methods and outreach for organizing. We created the Young Voter Alliance, a national coalition of progressive organizations with the likes of the League of Pissed Off Voters, which I know some of you are after the election, and the National Student Network for Stonewall. We hired hundreds of organizers and placed them in over 5 states to make connections on the street in local communities, talking to young folks about the issues that matter in their lives. We rolled out YDA's Demopolis, our online membership community. It's a tool that you can use in your states to talk to your people, to share best practices, and to raise the money that you want to implement the programs that you need. And I'm sorry, but like I said, I gotta keep it real. I'm sorry, but parading around in a chicken suit asking how much you got is totally missing the point. Totally missing the point. We went into states like Wisconsin and Florida to build what we hadn't built before, to win in places that we haven't been winning. That's why we went in. I'm running for executive vice president because there's too much at stake here to not take what we're doing seriously. And I truly believe that you ought not to complain about the problem if you're not going to volunteer to be part of the solution. I've been fortunate. I've been real fortunate. I've been fortunate enough to be asked by the chair of our great party, Governor Dean, to be part of his 12-member, 50-state strategy team. And similar to what the DNC is doing now, engaging state parties, YDA needs to help invest in the infrastructure of the local and state chapters. But as we all know, one size does not fit all. I'm running for executive vice president just because, like the DNC, YDA needs to be going out and talk to all 56 state and territories and not just during election cycles. We are a national organization, not an organization of 35 states that are savvy enough or geeky enough to get through the bylaws without wanting to kill yourself afterwards. We need to make it easier for states to get involved and be plugged in. We are a national organization. I'm asking for your vote. Thank you, and have a great evening.
Thank you. We have one more office. Can I have order in the general session, please? Well, people seem to be gaining energy as the night goes on. That's pretty impressive. I hope no one's bringing drinks back into the general session. All right. This is it now. Last but not least, the office of the presidency of the Young Democrats of America. There are two candidates certified. Run for president, Chris Galloway. And also, order, please. Order. Everybody could take their seats. The other certified candidate for president is Alexander Cruz de Ocampo. Order, please. If everyone could please take their seats. Again, I'd like to ask everyone to please take their seats so that we can hear from the candidates. I'd like to ask everyone to please take their seats. Order, please, in the general session. Everyone, please take their seats. Everyone, please take their seats. Everyone, please, quiet, please. We'll hear we'll now hear from both of the candidates, but first, for the purposes of nominating Chris Galloway, a call to the front, Jason Irvin.
Good morning to you all. As Clinton said, I'm Jason Irvin. I'm from the state of Illinois, and I'm also the regional director for the Great Lakes region. That's my region in the house. When Illinois came back to YDA back in 2002, we met up in Cleveland. Just 4 of us decided to just take it on to get ourselves back active in this organization. When we looked over the landscape, we looked at YDA, we saw a couple of things that we didn't like, we saw some stuff that we did like. We hooked up with some people here, and the rest is history. Through that process, we had an opportunity to meet some great people, especially at the time a gentleman who was treasurer. His name was Chris Galloway. Through our time in this organization, I found Chris to be an honorable person, a representative man, and a person that I don't mind being associated with. In my capacity back in Chicago, I'm a Democratic precinct captain for one of the top organizations in the country. And with that, our primary goal is to deliver. Through this organization, I've seen Chris do just that. It is to deliver. 2 years ago, when this organization was broke, Chris has delivered, and now we got cash in the bank. Just not too long ago, when we were looking for an executive director, we found a dynamic executive director in Jane Fleming, and now we're rolling on. And just a couple of months ago, when we were in Detroit debating over the very future of this convention, Chris Galloway stepped to the table with leadership, and we delivered this thing, and we're here today. So it is with great pleasure that I submit to nomination for this organization the current president, and we're giving him 2 more years, Chris Galloway.
Next, for the purpose of nominating Alex Diocampo, I'll call to the front Mark Corman.
What do I have to do to get you to scream Mark? The last nomination speech. I know you're all really upset that we don't get to do this for 2 whole years. You know, Alex called and told me about 6 months ago that this was something he was pursuing. He wanted to be the next president of the Young Democrats of America. The first thing I asked him is, are you out of your freaking mind? The thought of running a national, vast organization like this one with huge egos, huge ideas, huge passion, and huge needs seemed like a mind-boggling challenge. I could not imagine why he would want to put himself through that. I clearly forgot who I was talking to. Alex Diocampo has never half-assed, excuse my profanity, anything in his life. He put my concerns to rest by telling me simply YDA must do better. It must be more in touch with its membership's needs. It must register more voters. It must, like the rest of the Democrats, win more elections. Anybody who spoke with Alex knows how he feels about politics. Whether there's someone in this room, or a cab driver, or a bartender, or a family member, people all across this country have heard from Alex about politics. And pity the poor person who tells him that they don't care or they don't vote, because they will get an earful. That passion that he carries in his professional, political, and private life is perfect for an organization that needs to be organizing in 56 states and territories, and unfortunately right now is not there. The YDA presidency is not the first time that I've misjudged Alex and thought that his ambition might be bigger than his ability to deliver. When he was president of the California Young Democrats, he pitched me an idea for something called the De Ocampo 50. The idea was that 50 individuals would raise $500 for the California Young Democrats. I didn't think he'd be able to do it, but within 2 terms, he had 2, right, Crystal? 2 terms before he ceded power to Crystal, they raised over $140,000, one state through small dollar donations. CYD's 2004 campaign was not paid for by a few elected officials and 2 or 3 big millionaire donors. We appreciate their contributions, but it was a broad base of support, a broad base of donors. That's what YDA needs. Now, not only was I skeptical of Alex's ability to succeed, I was skeptical of my own. I was one of the De Ocampo 50. I did not think I could raise $500 for CYD, but Alex pushed me, prodded me, and gave me the confidence to get the job done. He can do it for other people in this room. I know he already has. Alex is a great friend of mine, as he is Tara, and we're both proud to stand up here today as his friend. But because he's the right guy for the job, we are proud to nominate him to be the next president of the Young Democrats of America. Please support Alex De Ocampo. Thank you.
All right. We can have everybody take their seats. We're going to hear from the candidates now. I'd first like to call to the podium candidate for president, Chris Galloway.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Delegates, Democrats, and friends, thank you so much, Jason, for your nomination for my second term as president of the Young Democrats of America. It's been a long night, and we've heard from a lot of great candidates. Tonight, I'm here to ask you for your vote for my re-election as your national president. It has been a great honor to me to work with so many of you these last years. First as a state president in Kansas, then as a regional director in the Midwest region, serving as your national treasurer for 2 years, and the last 2 years as your president. I am so proud of what all of us have accomplished together over that time. YDA is in great shape nationally. We've grown, we've changed, and some people will complain and criticize. Well, I'm not going to tell you that we've done everything we can. There is so much more for us to do to turn YDA into a stable, reliable campaign powerhouse. To keep building our grassroots. To provide even more resources to our members and our chapters all across this country. That is why I am up here today seeking another term. We have made so much progress, and we must see this job through to completion. We have the credibility to do the job, we have the money to do the job, and we have the connections with groups all across this country to do this job. Our success is because of the people in this room, all of you, participating with this organization at the fullest level possible. The next 2 years are all about the 3 M's: money, members, and message. As you know, in 2004, we raised $1.3 million. This year, we raised our entire operating budget in May for the entire year of 2005. And we were able to help the California Young Democrats out with $100,000 to fund this convention. But it's not just about money. It's no good without our members. That's why we've increased our membership list nationally from 3,000 people when I took over to 27,000 people today. And have you seen Demopolis, our new online management tool? We're going to take this organization to the next level in online organizing and offline development. But the money and the members don't do us any good unless we can deliver the message. And young Democrats are doing that. Young Democrats are proud. We've learned from 2004 that we're the best people to talk to other young voters. We should all be proud of what the Young Democrats of America is today. We've come so far. I mean, look at everybody in this room. You are a testament to how much we have done. We are on the right track. And I ask you to join me in this fight, to continue the work that we've done, to keep the good things coming, to build as we have never built before, to expand members, message, and money. My name is Chris Galloway, and I am proud to be your president of the Young Democrats of America.
Thank you. Everybody please take their seats. Everybody please take their seats. We have order. Can we have order in the general session? We have order in the general session, please. Order, please. Order, please. Everyone please be quiet. Shh. Thank you. Thank you. Quiet, please. Please. I forgot something important to just mention the seconders for these 2 candidates. Chris Galloway's nomination was seconded by Darren Parks, and Alexander Diocampo's. And Alex Diocampo's nomination was seconded by Tara Martin. I will now call order, please. I will now call to the podium candidate for president, Alex Diocampo.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. My name is Alex Diocampo, and I want to be your YDA president. In 2004, I had no intention of running for president of Young Democrats of America. After serving as the president of California Young Democrats and California College Democrats, I was truly gratified with our groundbreaking success here in California. But after being on a post-election conference call with YDA, I felt YDA needed, to use a Los Angeles term, a facelift. After talking to states like Pennsylvania, Washington, New York, Arkansas, and several others, I learned that many felt the same frustration. Many states are frustrated that YDA spent over $100,000 in Wisconsin, but did not charter a Wisconsin Young Democrats.
They are frustrated that YDA invested in 5 states for the 2004 campaigns and left every other chartered state with nothing. That's not a national campaign. The Young Democrats of America need to think bigger. After all, the Democratic Party is facing challenges. I know you're working hard. I appreciate your efforts, and I want to give you the resources you need to make your goals a reality. YDA can do better. We deserve better. It's time to energize and engage every chapter. First, we deserve resources that empower state chapters with strong infrastructure, continual outreach, and training. We need to provide chapters with matching grants to implement local campaign programs. As the president of California Young Dems, I hired our first executive director and campaign manager in over 25 years. We were there to provide hands-on support to our local chapters and activists across the state. We broke fundraising records by expanding our donor base and reaching out to diverse industries. I want to bring quality resources to every state. Second, we deserve a better communications infrastructure. We need messaging, media outreach, and publicity. I have worked with national media outlets like CNN, Ethnic Media, and yes, even Fox News. But in California, we created a successful rapid response network and a communication strategy to target Republican candidates and get out the Democratic message in nearly every element of local and regional media. I want YDA to have a strong national media presence. Third, we deserve YDA leaders who are accountable and accessible. When you're starting your chapter and getting off the ground, it is crucial to have help from your leadership. As president of the California Young Dems, I made it my priority that the CYD Executive Board responded to every call. I will do the same as YDA president. Every chapter deserves energy and attention. Here is my specific platform. I urge every state chapter to learn about the logistics and rationale behind my specific plans for our future. As newly elected Los Angeles Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa once said, "Dream with me. Take this opportunity and let us change YDA from the bottom up. With stronger resources, communication, and accountable and accessible leadership, we can make bold changes to the status quo." YDA's leaders will fight for you. YDA's history and foundation is based on the strength of our state chapters. We can energize and engage all corners of our nation. I want to help you make your dreams a reality. We can do better. We must do better. Dream with me. And let us change this organization together. Thank you.
So a sincere thank you. Let's have order in the general session again, please. Everyone, please take their seats. As we still have one more full day. But as your convention chair, I just want to express my appreciation to everyone for staying here well past midnight. We still have a full house. I'm very excited that you all took this opportunity to hear about the ideas from our candidates for YDA officers. So, before we close, I'm going to call to the podium the convention secretary, Patrick Grayson, to make a few announcements.
Announcements. There is still additional food and ongoing music in the hotel restaurant. It is being provided by YDA. Please stop by. The next announcement is from the Credentials Committee. Delegation chairs or state presidents must report to the Credentials meeting Saturday morning at 8:30 a.m. to appoint the voting delegates. Mr. Chairman, I motion to adjourn.
So second. I suspect we won't need a division on this one, but hey, I don't know. We'll move immediately to a vote on the motion to adjourn. All those in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye. Are there any opposed? Oh, for heaven's sake. The ayes definitely have it. We'll see you tomorrow morning.